Hi, I'm Bina Kavalam, career and life strategist for high-value working professionals. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the four considerations and four strategies for how to make the most of your video interviews. Today, I'm not going to be talking about, your STAR method or your, here's how you do your marketing case or your consulting case or here's how to walk through your resume. That's not what this video is about. It's about the strategies for how to present yourself well on camera. So the first consideration to think about is your attire. I'm going to strongly recommend that you wear your whatever the attire is for that interview, and you ask as well. If they're reluctant to tell you, or for some reason they forget, I strongly encourage you to wear a suit and a tie if your interview is in consulting or in finance. You just always do. If it's in any other industry, use your best judgment. Now, for most industries, you always at least want to wear a business casual at a very minimum. And I would call it business smart casual. You want to be a little bit above business casual. And what that could be is a very nice dress, or it could be a very nice shirt and blazer. But for men, you want to wear like a polo or a button down just so that you look more professional, even if it's business casual. So that once your attire is taken care of and your hair looks good and you put some makeup on and you're all right, you're going to want to make sure that you do your background. Now, background is important because when you're on screen, yes, you're talking to camera. Yes, you're talking to camera, but you're going to also want to people are going to be distracted, or they want to look at what's behind you as well. Now, in some cases, how people get around this is they have just a white wall behind them. If that's the case and that's all you have, then by all means, go ahead and do that. If you have the option for some artwork behind you, be careful with what you pick. Because if you have artwork that has a glass frame around it, you can see all of your background, right? All your secrets kind of given away, and it's kind of distracting. What you want to have is a frame that does not have a reflective coating, so it's not as distracting. Okay. So the next thing that you want to think through is, besides your backdrop, is thinking of a higher order. I forgot one more thing. My backdrop here, the reason I decided to shoot from here is because I wanted to show you a higher order method. Now, the higher order method is that you want to use your backdrop to your advantage. What I'm using here is, you'll see pictures of my graduation from business school, pictures of my travels around the world, of my family, a quote from a very inspirational quote. It's all framed and it looks good behind me. It helps to improve who I am. These are all positive images that will help impact my brand. Now, I even got some flowers here, okay, $5 from Target, or $5 from Trader Joe's, right? It doesn't cost a lot of money to be professional and to pull all this together, okay? But I'm just saying, subtle things matter. You don't have to do all of this, okay? I did it for a reason, for this purpose. But you don't have to do all this. A couple of key things can make a difference to showcase who you are. All right. The third thing is, you want to make sure your lighting is good. Especially if you're of a darker skin tone, this is vital. There's been so many times when I have been when I've been doing videos and with people and they're completely dark, or the camera angle is, they're shooting from their laptop and the laptop's in their lap, and the camera angle is like right up their nose, right? So you don't want that. So two things I'm going to say is, one, make sure you have the triangle of light. How you create that is essentially put two side table lamps on each side of you, equally distant apart, right? So if I have right now, if I put one closer to me, right, you're going to see different lighting. If I keep them farther away, right, equally farther away, you'll see it evens out. So you want to have light on both sides of you equally. And then put a floor lamp right ahead of you. And that's it. You want to have a high one ahead of you and then two equally distant on this side, on each side. And that triangle of light will give you a balanced, lighted perspective. The other thing I talked about was the laptop, right? Where you're sitting the laptop right in front of you. I encourage you to get the laptop to be so that the light, right, that light right ahead of you is slightly above eye level. And if you can do it while you're standing, even better. But it's so critical that it's just above your eye. Like, you don't want to be looking down into the camera, because that means people are looking right up your nose. And you don't want that, okay? Because it's quite distracting and it's kind of gross. So instead, you want to make sure you're looking directly above it. It's a good facial angle, and it'll help you to look more professional. The final thing I recommend is making sure there are no noise distractions and that you have a good microphone. If you're relying on the microphone for your computer, that's fine. I'm using it right now, but I know my microphone is pretty solid, and I also know that my it's pretty quiet when I'm doing this interview or doing this video. If you are in a situation where you're using your, iPhone, earbuds, and there's a lot of background noise, you're going to want to consider moving to a different location. Sound is everything, because everything else I've told you is more peripheral. That sound is so important. If they can't hear you, they can't do the interview. All right, so it's really important that you get that sound right. So we've talked about 4 key elements here. We've talked about your attire. We've talked about your backdrop, we've talked about lighting, and finally we've talked about the sound and your mic. And we also threw in the camera angle in there because I think that's important as well. So these elements are vitally important for your interview, your video interview. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't be still prepping your star interview and your case prep and all that stuff. I'm assuming you are preparing that. This point is all really about making sure that you come off visually appealing for your video interviews. Thank you, everybody, and if you have any questions, please place them below. Take care.